Metal Gear Solid 4 Integral Podcast. Broadcasted from Konami HQ in downtown Tokyo, it's the world-renowned Metal Gear Solid 4 Integral Podcast.
Okay, everybody, welcome to episode number 7 of the MGS4 Integral Podcast. I'm here with Aki Saito.
Hi, everyone.
And Kenny Maizumi.
Hello.
And my name is Sean Eystone. And today we're continuing at the Eastern Europe Midtown stage. And we're continuing from 2 weeks ago at the Midtown Northwest sector. So you should have just...
Why are you whistling?
Well, this is a whistle session, remember? We're supposed to follow the whistle.
Do you remember, my mother has always told me, don't whistle during the nighttime.
Yeah. There's a saying, kind of a famous kind of saying, that don't whistle outside at night in Japan because snakes will come out.
Snakes will come out. Really?
Yeah.
Not solid snake, right?
No. I don't know why, because we don't see snakes in Tokyo. Not so much. But my mom, Ken's mom as well, every mom will say, don't whistle at night.
So that's like a common thing for Japanese parents to say to their kids.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, if you whistle at night, snakes will come out.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Do you have the same kind of stuff?
I'm not sure about America, but in Hawaii we have something similar, where if you whistle at night, we say spirits will come out. So it's not good to whistle at night.
That's more scary.
Yeah, but, in movies and things like that, right? Like a musical movie.
Well, yeah, I think there are a lot of scenes in movies and stuff where people are whistling at night. So in the mainland U.S., whistling at night isn't really a bad thing, I think, for most Americans anyway.
Well, don't worry.
I think it's more of a Hawaii thing.
Well, even in Japan, a lot of people whistle at night. Doesn't really matter too much. Anyways, nothing to do with Eastern Europe. Well, let's go. We're in the actual canal.
Yeah, so right now we're in the canal. You should have just come through that load point that we went through a couple weeks ago. And you just came out from the tunnel. And you'll hear the helicopter up above you. And last week we introduced that there was a surface-to-air missile that you could use to shoot down the helicopter. But for those of you who want to get through the stage without actually, killing anybody or causing a lot of damage, what you can do is you can actually equip a silenced sniper rifle, such as the VSS, which we picked up in South America a few weeks ago. And what you want to do is aim at the searchlight
Of the helicopter?
of the helicopter. And you can actually shoot this out. It's kind of hard to get a clear shot because the helicopter's moving around. But if you can get a shot at the searchlight... Okay. So it may take several tries, but if you can get a clear shot at the searchlight, you can actually knock it out.
Wow.
There's something wrong. Support unit, confirm their status.
You can actually knock it out.
Wow.
Wow.
I didn't know this.
You didn't know this?
No. I didn't think I had a VSS at that time.
You can use other guns as well. It's just that they'll make a lot more noise.
Yeah,
so
people
will be more likely to find you. And we can move on.
Okay.
Okay, so now that searchlight is out of the way, we can cross over to the other side of the canal. And on the northern side of the canal, if you cross over and take a left, now, even if you use a silent sniper rifle, there's a good chance that, some people may come because you may trigger a caution phase. So just go ahead and put them to sleep. And proceed to the left. You'll see a ladder near the bridge that passes over the canal. And what we're going to do is we're going to climb up this ladder.
Okay.
Okay, then once you get to the top of the ladder, you'll see a doorway directly to your right. And there's like double doors that are open. So we want to head into here. And you kind of enter this narrow alley. And then at the end of that, there's another gate that's closed this time. At first glance, it may seem like this is a dead end. But if you round the corner, to the left, there's like a small little area you can walk to. If you go to your left and look at the wall behind the door, there's actually a little hole here that you can crouch down and go through. And so when you're tracking, one of the resistance members, it's possible that he may actually come this way. And when he does, if you ever lose sight of him, a lot of people may think they lost him because they can't pass through the door. If you just go around the corner here, you can see that there's actually this small little hole that you can crawl through.
So I guess there's no cheating whatsoever of the resistance route
Right.
he is going.
So yeah, he never warps or just magically
disappears. So there is a way that
there's
he
always
got
a way.
behind that door.
Right.
I see.
And this also is based on reality. According to the design team, when they went to Eastern Europe, they actually saw this type of weird hole in the wall.
Weird.
They didn't know what it was for. It's just kind of there. It's not a door. It's too small for a normal person to pass through without crouching. But he was there, and so it kind of struck them as just being really unusual, and they wanted to put it in the game because of that. And so here it is. Right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna crouch down and head through this hole, but use caution because once you get out on the other side, there are a couple of PMC guards on your left. So as soon as you pass through the hole, turn to your left, and then look to the north, and you'll see a pair of PMC guards in the street. So let's just go ahead and put these guys to sleep. Okay, and then once those guys are asleep, you can head out to the street and then look to the left. You should be facing north. You'll see a staircase heading up, and to the right of that is a trash can.
A green trash can.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, people may not remember that there are trash cans in the game, because the last one that you saw was probably in the Middle East. Yeah.
Act 1.
Right. So, you went through all of South America without ever seeing one, but you come to Eastern Europe and once again, there are trash cans. So if you're ever spotted and you need to find a place to hide, you can just climb to one of these trash cans. All right.
But these are definitely different looking than the Middle East ones.
Yeah, and that's something too. They were actually modeled after European trash cans, also, different from the Middle Eastern trash cans. All right. So next, what we want to do is head up the stairs that are to the left of the trash can. When you get to the top of the stairs, take the left.
Yeah, you're on kind of a balcony kind of.
Right.
Yeah.
And you'll see another set of stairs going down on the other side of this balcony. So head down these stairs. And then when you get to the bottom of the stairs, you'll see on your left-hand side, there's a bench, and then there's a bookstore display case.
Yeah.
So what we want to point out is actually in this bookstore display case. If you go into first-person view and look at this display case, you may notice some things that most people probably missed. In the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see someone who probably looks familiar. Well, it's really low res, so maybe you don't recognize him, but that's actually Otacon. You can kind of see from his profile. Another thing that, really hardcore trivia buffs may get a kick out of is that one of the development team is actually featured on one of these books as well. So if you look at the center row above Otacon and count to the fourth book from the right, the cover to this book features our lead artist, Negishi-san.
Oh, this
And-
small book kind of.
Yeah, it's kind of like a small book. It's the fourth from the right.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a blurry photo of someone standing there. He's actually holding a drink and drinking. It's really hard to see,
Wow.
but for the really crazy trivia buffs, this is actually our lead artist.
But this is very, very rare.
Yeah, it's a
rare
very
trivia, but who will be happy about this trivia?
well, a lot of fans, a lot of Metal Gear Solid fans are.
But they
want
don't
to know.
even know what kind of face.
Yeah, that's true. But that's true. But this is
Maybe his family will be happy about this. My dad is on.
Actually, maybe his family will not even notice this picture.
The funny thing is, Negi-san himself didn't notice this picture. The artist who actually made this stage kind of told him that he was actually in the stage. And
Well, we have to find some pictures for the books.
Yeah.
So maybe they didn't have a choice.
yeah, so they decided to choose him, and so he's in here
Without him knowing.
without him knowing.
Wow, that's sweet.
Okay, so that's the bookstore display case. Just a bit of trivia for the real trivia buffs. And so from the bookstore, turn around And here the road splits. You'll see the road where the two PMCs are, and then there's a truck next to that, and then there's another road that angles off towards the north.
Heads kind of down.
And, right, and kind of heads down a slope.
Yeah.
We're going to take that road that heads to the north.
Okay.
So as you near that road, you'll come to another load point.
That goes to.
That goes to the Midtown North sector. And so we're going to jump in here and see you on the other side of the load.
Okay, we're in the Midtown North sector.
All right, so you come out in the Midtown North sector, and as soon as you come out, you'll see a couple streets ahead of you, one kind of angling off to the left, and another one to the right. So take the one that heads to your right. And as you walk forward, you'll see an alley on your right, near this Golden Fish restaurant.
Oh, it's a restaurant.
Golden Fish
yeah.
Golden Fish.
Wow, sounds yummy.
Yeah, so take a right near the Golden Fish.
And we're gonna enter this.
And we're gonna enter this little alley here. Follow the alley, it kind of turns to your left and then comes to intersection here. And what you want to do is take a left at this intersection. You'll see straight ahead, you can see the front of a van. And when you get to the street, just stop here for a second. You know, people may recognize this area as where, you know, if you follow the resistance member, you know, there would be vehicle patrols around this area.
Yeah,
you need to kind of hide. And, you know, just kind of to offer a little bit of advice to people who are playing this. If you want to hide really quickly, the best way to hide on the stage is actually to use the cardboard box or the barrel. And, you know, the reason for that, of course, is you can lay down on the ground and you can absorb the camouflage pattern, but it takes time, right? But if you use the barrel, you can quickly jump in and out. You can have a much easier time while you're trying to avoid these vehicle patrols. One other thing about these vehicle patrols that it's kind of funny. During development, you know, we had the vehicle patrols going on, and of course there's the PMCs patrolling the street. And what was really hard was to keep these vehicle patrols from actually hitting the patrolling PMCs. Because, you know, the vehicles would just come charging down the road. The PMCs would be walking, and bam, they'd be hit, you know. And so we had to come up with ways to keep that from happening. And, you know, at one point we figured, okay, I think we kind of got it. You know, the vehicles will stop and, you know, they won't run over the guy or whatever. But there's actually ways that you can get around that. If you put one of the PMC patrols to sleep, you know, they'll go to sleep, and they'll be on the side of the road. And, you know, the vehicle patrol will come up beside him, and they'll tell him to wake up or something like that, right? It's like, oh, what are you doing? You know, wake up. And, you know, what'll happen is if that PMC guard's post is on the other side of the street, he'll wake up and say, oh my God, I gotta get back to my post. And he'll start running to his post. And what was really funny is if his post is on the other side of the street, he'll just go dashing right onto the middle of the street, right as, you know, the patrol vehicle starts up. And he'll just get nailed by that patrol vehicle. So.
Wow. Okay, so maybe some lucky guys might have seen the scene.
Maybe. I mean, it's really hard to get it.
Oh, really? I would like to see that.
The situation just has to work out perfectly. But it's pretty funny if you can get it.
Well, it's not a bug, is it? I mean, if you wake up and, you know, if you dash across the street, you can get hit.
It's an accident, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you know, he's in a rush to get back to his post.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I know one more thing, but that's not the Europe stage. I know something in the Middle East. It's really funny thing.
That gets run over?
No, not that one. Like, you know, do you guys know there's some snipers on the building, 3rd floor?
Yeah.
You know, like you sneak on the building and you put a Playboy magazine, you know, right side of the, you know, the sniper. The sniper will look at the, you know, Playboy magazine and he starts shooting the gun. And it's really funny because he was like,
he's looking at the magazine.
He's looking at the magazine and shooting the, you know, guns, and he's so, you know, genius.
He's that good.
Yeah. Cool.
All right. You know, one other thing that kind of stands out while you're standing at this intersection is if you look straight ahead, there's a manhole in the street leading down to the sewers. And this is kind of a painful story to tell, but you know, originally there actually was, you know, you actually were able to go into these manholes and go down into the sewer. Yeah. So, the idea was while you're tracking this resistance member, sometimes he'll crawl into these manholes and you'll have to follow him down and crawl through the sewer, things like that. But unfortunately, for various reasons, for gameplay reasons, for camera reasons, for VRAM reasons, and just, time limitation, we had to take that out.
All right, then where do we head next?
All right, so from this manhole, you're facing the manhole. What you want to do is turn to your right and head down the street. You'll see a parking sign in the distance, as well as a van parked next to that parking sign. And so what you want to do is head up onto the sidewalk, go past that parking sign, and keep an eye on your right. And you'll see a staircase heading up on your right. Okay. So let's just head up this staircase. And when you get to the top of the staircase, on your right, there's a door that leads to this small little empty lot.
Kind of a garden.
Right, kind of like a garden. And, people may recognize this place when they're tracking the resistance member. This is where the resistance member, of course, ducked into this door and changed into his PMC uniform.
Yeah.
One thing about that, I think a lot of people probably didn't realize at that time, and a lot of the team actually didn't realize until later, is that when he changes his uniform, it's actually not identical to the other PMC soldiers. If you look really closely, you can see that his helmet is actually just slightly different from the other PMC. The character designer, the character artist who was making, the Resistance guys, when he was making these characters, he wanted to just add a little variation in there, just to say that, yeah, he has a PMC uniform, but he's not a real PMC, so his uniform doesn't exactly match with everyone else's uniform. So for people who are very attentive, you may have noticed that. For those who didn't, next time you play, try and take a look at his helmet.
Okay. What's next in our tour?
Actually, in the last program, we mentioned that you could listen at the doors to houses and hear, sounds coming from the inside of the house. So what I'm going to do now is take you to one of those houses and point out something that's kind of cool. So from here, head back outside and back down the stairs that we came from. You should be heading north. Then on your right, you'll see a pair of PMC soldiers standing next to a barrel. If you're the violent type, you could go ahead and blow up that barrel. Otherwise, you can just go ahead and put these guys to sleep.
Okay, so we put them to sleep.
Okay, so we put these guys to sleep. What we want to do is head down the hill towards that barrel that they were standing next to.
Okay.
Okay, so when you get to this barrel, first of all, take a look at the corner here. There's a building.
Cafe bar?
It says cafe bar, right? And there's a couple posters on that wall. If you look at the top poster,
What's this top poster?
you'll see another picture of our lead artist.
It's taking a picture.
And he's taking a picture. So this is actually a picture of him taking pictures in Eastern Europe.
Wow.
Doing, research.
Trivia.
Trivia within trivia. Pictures within pictures.
Is this real trivia?
Yeah, it's Negipi.
Yeah.
Okay.
Enough. It's enough. Where are we heading, Sean?
All right, so let's just follow this wall. Okay, so you're looking at, the picture, the
And the
poster
cafe bar,
of the
yeah.
cafe bar, and just follow this wall. It'll head up this slope.
To the
Kinda heading
left.
To the left,
of the
yeah.
poster,
Follow
yeah.
to the left of the poster, and kind of head up this slope.
Okay.
And you should be heading kind of to the northwest. All right, so walk up the slope, but slow down as you get to the top
Of the slope because?
of the slope, because on your left you'll see 3 PMC soldiers
Wow.
3.
facing away from you.
Yes.
Okay, so let's just go ahead and put these guys to sleep.
Okay, so once you get these 3 guys to sleep, where will we go?
Okay, so now we got these guys to sleep, and what we want to do is head up the slope. They're kind of standing at a split in the road,
Yeah.
and if you're facing them, after you came up the slope, there's the road that goes straight ahead, and then another one that kind of angles off to the right. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this road that angles off to the right.
So you should see a van on the left and a van on the right, a little bit further up.
And the building number?
What's the building number?
Building number is 32218.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So So we're heading up this hill. You go past that van on your left. You go past this peacock sign. So you pass that sign, and then you come to another van on your right. And what you want to do is head to the other side of that van, towards the wall, and you'll see a sign above this door.
A snake sign.
A snake sign,
Yeah.
right. So what you want to do is press up against that door underneath the snake sign and listen. And when you do, you should hear one of our Kojima Productions podcasts
Oh, wow.
coming from inside the building.
Wow.
You may need to, rotate your camera a little bit and get a good angle. And for those of you who maybe triggered a caution phase as you were walking, it might be hard to hear because of the background music. And so for those people, just to point out one other feature, is you can actually turn off the background music. So if you press start and go into your menu, and go down to options, then go over to the audio video tab, and you'll see an in-game music on-off option.
So on the default setting, this is on.
On the default setting, it's on, but you can toggle it off.
Ah.
If you do that, you should be able to hear the sound much more easily. One thing to point out also is that originally in Metal Gear Solid 4, there wasn't going to be any background music originally.
Yeah.
The idea was to make the game much more realistic and therefore avoid putting in background music. So the whole game actually would have sounded like this, where you're just listening to atmospheric sounds, listening to people walking, background noises and things like that. But as we were making it, Mr. Kojima said, well, actually it's a little bit lonely without background music, so we wanted to put something in there to kind of spice it up a little bit more, so the background music was restored. But, the sound guys really put a lot of effort into making all this, all the background noise and atmospheric sound effects. So for people who really want to experience the game, I guess in its raw form, they can go ahead and do that and turn off the background music and maybe play through the game. And I think especially, like in places where there's a lot of battle, there's usually like really intense background music and things like that. So without the music, it's actually pretty different. And so people maybe can get a new experience by turning off the background music.
Well, it was so natural for me to have this background music when you're like in the caution phase or whatever.
Right.
Because it brings up the tension, like the movie kind of theater experience. But come to think of it, yeah, I think it will be fun to try to live through if you have a good sound system, that is, like 5.1 at your home. And you could actually hear the battle sounds and things like that. But you might not necessarily feel that tense caution phase, tense feeling, the pressure.
I think it's probably a different type of tension. Like maybe you won't have that tension from the music, but it's more realistic. So I guess, you feel like you've
been shot from...
Right, you hear shots coming from the distance, and you know exactly where they're coming from because you can hear them clearly, things like that. So
in the direction, yeah, surely people who haven't tried it should try it out.
Yeah. Okay, and what people may not realize is that there's actually another house where they're listening to the MSX. Well, they're playing the original MSX
and you
Metal
can listen
Gear, and you can listen in from outside the door.
From that house, right?
Right. And so this one's kind of far from where we are, so we're not going to backtrack to that point, but I will just kind of point out where it is. So people probably know the park, so go to the park and go to the north end of the park. And you'll find a slope heading up to a building on the north end of the park. And that building, the number is 3145. The red number is 314, the black number is 5. That building, if you listen to the door on the other side of the building, on the opposite side of the park, you'll be able to hear someone playing the MSX version of Metal Gear.
Wow.
Okay, anyway, so I think we're going to wrap it up here. For those who want to continue on to the end, if you head up the slope and take a right at the intersection where there's, a four-way intersection, you take a right and keep on heading straight ahead, heading to the north until you hit a wall. If you turn left at that wall, you'll find yourself at the church. And if you happen to be tracking the Resistance member, you can follow him into the church, and that'll trigger the cutscene where you meet Big Mama.
Well, this was kind of, as Sean said earlier, maybe this time on the last show, but it's a very unique stage. It's not like shooting and destroying, or also not just a simple hiding. Metal Gear essence, espionage essence. But it does have the espionage essence because you have to follow someone.
Right, hiding.
And there's a lot of traps like helicopter searchlights, you know, the cars that on patrol. Well, it's a famous story that first of all, that we had this boot camp session by Kojima Productions.
Yeah.
Where we invited how many? 20?
I think 20 plus people.
20 press people from Europe and from America to come down to Japan. And we kind of went up north of Tokyo, a little bit far away, quite to a resort area, where we have our, we can't say it officially, but a secret hideout of Konami's secret hideout.
Right.
Kind of a training kind of camp. That's why we call it boot camp. So we wanted to invite these press people to kind of ask their feelings about how MGS4 is, because it was almost connected till the end. So we wanted people to play through it and give us feedback. To these very limited people, mostly in the daytime. We were in this meeting room, and we set up all the PS3s on a good high def.
Right. We brought the the PlayStation 3 from Tokyo and a high def TV, and we set it up the whole whole thing, whole system.
Everyone was enjoying because it got excited, right?
Yeah.
And we were really excited too to set this up and watch these 20 press people play MGS4 for the first time. But until the point when they entered Act 3, which was this Eastern Europe stage. Because I think it was quite difficult.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, there was a couple of bugs.
Yeah.
And it was really hard.
Right.
And a lot of people got stuck and couldn't find the resistant member, couldn't stay onto it. People started shooting at people, thought that it was the way to clear it.
Yeah.
Some people killed a resistant member, but of course you could do that. But people thought that, how do I clear this? And
some guys are taking a long time, like
7 hours?
7 hours.
Wow, 7 hours.
Yeah, playing that stage and trying to reach the goal. And some guy was really
very upset.
Yeah, very upset.
But the thing was, we didn't want to kind of. I have played that stage before that boot camp, and so have the team members. Right. Also, Hideo Kojima was there watching these press people play, but no one was supposed to give them direct orders how to clear it.
Right.
Because that won't really help the development people for the feedback.
Right.
But we were almost like Ken was almost telling a couple of guys saying, no, don't go there, hide here, stay here for a while, things like that.
Right.
But a lot of people got really, really furious, frustrated.
Yeah, very frustrated.
And, that made Hideo really upset to some point. And he sent an email directly to the team back in Tokyo. Saying, there's a bug here. What are you guys doing? That.
Right.
Well, there was some bugs, that's true.
Yeah, at that stage.
Some people got stuck, And Shinta Nojiri, some people know him. He was handling this stage and...
the stalking scene, just stalking scene, right?
Yeah.
Not the whole Eastern Europe.
Right.
But the stalking scene was just 6 hours or 7 hours stuck here.
And Shinta Nojiri was, very serious. I mean, he took the problem very seriously.
Right.
And he started to fix it.
But it was kind of found out that there was just a couple of guards, really off where they weren't supposed to be. So you could kind of almost, crawl up behind them or something without them noticing you. But because of this couple of guards stationed at just a fraction away from each other or something, that made it really hard.
Right.
But we found out that this would be a disaster if we released it as it was. But it was good that we did this boot camp.
Yeah.
Okay, Sean, what's up for next?
Okay, so next time we're gonna go to the stage after Eastern Europe, which means we're gonna jump onto Moses, Shadow Moses.
Oh,
yeah.
It's your turn.
It's my stage, yes.
Yeah.
Where do we hook up?
We're gonna meet up at the heliport.
Yeah.
So what we want you to do is enter the Shadow Moses stage, and then Snake is gonna jump off the helicopter in the cutscene. So what you need to do is just head, through the snowy wilderness area and head towards the heliport. And then at the north end of the heliport, there's a truck parked in front of the hangar.
Yeah.
And what we want people to do is just head towards that truck, and we'll meet behind that truck.
Okay. Make sure to check back on the next issue of our Integral podcast. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for this lovely tour of Eastern Europe.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Alright, that's gonna wrap up this edition of the Metal Gear Solid 4 Integral Podcast. Check back next time for more tips, tricks, and insider info on Metal Gear Solid 4. Brought to you by Kojima Productions and Hideo Kojima himself. Make sure to send in your comments to Hideo Blog. See you next time.